All right, so it is 7:02. I want to welcome everybody to our first virtual online new student orientation. I am Tracy Scholl. I'm the cosmetology instructor at the East Campus. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves or?
Yep. My name is Stacy Anderson, and I teach cosmetology, the level 1 students. So I will be having the new level 1 students at the West Campus. So welcome everybody, and congratulations on your enrollment in cosmetology. We're excited to have you.
And I'm Donna Noecker, and I teach the level 2 and 3 students at the East Campus.
I'm Nancy Quick. I teach the level 2 and 3 at the West Campus in Leesport.
Okay, so
Welcome.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Stoffer. I'm the new principal over at the East Campus. So welcome, everybody.
So before we really get started with our information tonight, we're going to go through and take a roll call. If we call your name, if you could please just unmute your microphone and say that you're here. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time for stumbling over these names. So Timothy Booth. Timothy Booth, are you here? How about Kara Boyer?
I'm here.
Okay. Delaney Brooker? Delaney? Savannah Carell? Jada Emmerich?
Here.
Here, okay.
Figure it out.
How about Genesis? Genesis Garcia? Mariah Hogger? No Mariah? Carla Hetrick?
I'm here.
Jocelyn Callis? Emma. Is there an Emma Cronia?
I'm here.
Okay. How do you say your last name, Emma?
It's Coronia.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Francesca? Francesca
Here.
Lisa? Okay.
Here. Sorry.
That's okay. Mackenzie Lutz?
I'm here.
Michaela Nelson? Michaela Nelson? Chloe Ott? Christabel? How about Jayla? Jayla Richardson?
Here. Jayla's here.
Thank you. How about Adiana Sanbria?
Jocelyn Kalis is here.
Jocelyn is here. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry, we couldn't figure out the mute.
Nope, that's okay. Thank you. Haley Sutter. Taryn Yelk.
Here.
Tashia Ellison.
I'm here.
Ariana Cambria. Aja Cooper.
Here.
Madison Fritzinger. Cadience Fritzel. Marana George Scott,
Here.
Kaylee Gleason,
Here.
Anya Hadwin, Jennifer Keller, Kayla Culp,
Here.
Vanessa Kushner,
I'm here.
Jessica Miller,
I'm here.
Hannah Riesler,
I'm here.
Amber Snow, Layla Trapani,
It's Trapani. I'm here.
thank you, and Alaya Watkins. Okay, that's all I have on my list, Mrs. Anderson. You can start.
Okay, so I'm going to be calling out for students for the West Campus, and I too apologize. I'm sure I'm going to butcher some of these names, but I promise I will learn them once we get together and I practice them a little bit. So again, I'm going to call out, if you could just call out loudly. Sienna Carlisle Rogers. Okay. Alana Castro.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Jada Cole.
I'm here.
Thank you. Sophia Courtwright.
Here.
Thanks, Sophia. Faith Drago.
Here.
Thanks, Faith. Mackenzie Ettinger. Mackenzie?
Peter Wadley.
Oh, there she is. Okay, thanks, Mackenzie. Okay, Kimberly Eustache. Probably messed that one up, Eustache. Okay. Kelsey Forey.
Here.
Thanks, Kelsey. Kalia Gonzalez. Okay. Cadence Geiswhite. Okay. Zuria Kincaid.
Here.
Thank you. Skylar Latshaw.
Here.
Thank you. Tanya Mays. Okay. Jelena Penna. Faith Phillips.
Here.
Thanks, Faith. Jadalise Quinones. Kylie Razor.
Here.
Here, thank you. DeJade Skipper. Wedgie Cadet.
Here.
Thank you. Cheyenne Hicks. Gabriella King. Haley Kohler.
Here.
Thank you. Trinity Loeb. Julieta Maniscalco.
Here. In Maniscalco.
Julieta, thank you. Zoe Ann Metcalf.
Here.
Was that a here?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's here. She didn't answer. She's on the other
Okay.
page.
Okay, thank you. Sarah Orender.
Here.
Thanks, Sarah. Carlos Osario. Ayana Roth.
Here.
Thank you. Delmarie Santos.
Here.
Okay, thank you. And Karima Williams. Okay. All right. Well, that's the last one for me, Mrs. Schultz. So I guess we're
ready to get started?
Yeah, and for all of you guys out there, if you have friends, and we'll try to mention this at the end again, if you have friends in cosmetology that you know are going, and for whatever reason they were not able to make it tonight or they weren't able to connect, if you could just please let them know this is going to be recorded this evening, just so you're aware, and that we can they can see that on the website. It's going to be recorded and posted on the website under New Student Orientation. So if you guys can maybe help us get the word out to the people that didn't come.
Sorry, I was late. I don't know if you guys got to me yet.
Who is joining us? Can you tell us your name?
Madison Fritzinger.
Madison Fritzinger. Thank you, Madison.
No problem.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started again. I'm going to welcome you to your first new student orientation. And we're going to start with congratulations on your acceptance to the Berks Career and Technology Center. It is orientation night. Normally we would be in our classrooms. From the West Campus, again, you have Nancy Quick and Stacy Anderson. And East Campus is Donna Noecker and myself, Tracy Scholl.
Okay, so as we get started, you obviously know that you're joining a new adventure in your life, and you should be really excited, and to know that by the time you graduate, if you have really good attendance and you get all your work done, you can be licensed before you even graduate. So that's pretty cool. And we actually have quite a few East and West students that are licensed before they even graduate, and are working in salons before they've graduated high school. So that's pretty exciting. So again, welcome and congratulations. And to tell you a little bit about a career objective, all of you that are on the Zoom meeting with us tonight, you are all in what is called the cosmetologist career objective. And that's actually a really great career objective to be in because it gives you a lot of variety as far as things that you can do. It allows you to do the hair, the skin, the nails, the makeup, coloring, cutting, all of those things, and it's not a limited license. So it's 1,250 hours, which is a lot, and it's going to take you that 3 hours to get there, but that's going to allow you to do pretty much most things that you need to. You'll see nail technician that's listed up there, which is 200 hours. That's what we call a limited license. And what that means is the only thing you're able to do under that licensure is simply do nails, pedicures, manicures, hand and arm massage, nail art, artificial nails, things like that. That is something that we teach, and you would have that under your cosmetologist license, but you might choose in your junior year that you really like to do nails and you want to start doing nails before you do the full program and finish the full program. So that's an option in your junior year. You need to be in good standing and you need to be a good student to be able to do that, but it is possible. So that's why we have that listed to let you know. And if you have really good attendance and you have really good hours, another opportunity that you might want to choose is the teachers. So when you would finish your 1,250 hours of cosmetology, you can choose to enroll in our student teacher program, which is 500 additional hours above the 1,250, and that teaches you things in lesson planning and discipline and classroom management and running a clinic, all the things that a teacher would do. And and then that license is the highest license of the three, and the highest license has everything below it. So in other words, if you get your teacher's license, you have the teachers, the cosmetologist, and the nail tech. If you have the cosmetologist license, you have the cosmetologist and the nail tech. Okay, so just have a little bit of understanding. And one other thing real quickly that we don't have on here, if you finish your 1250 hours and you're like, yeah, well, I don't really think I want to be a teacher, which not everybody does, we also have the opportunity for you to go on something called co-op, which means that you go out into the world of work and you come to school a couple of days of the week, you go out to a salon and work in a salon, and you get a paid program that you do through the school and getting experience in working in the salon. So that's another option as well. That would be primarily in your senior year. Okay. So those are the career objective choices, but as you guys know, you are doing cosmetologist, which is a great opportunity. Okay, Mrs. Scholl.
Okay, my name's Mrs. Quick, and I did want to say something before we get started. I'm sure you might have some questions along the way. If you would like to unmute and ask your question at the end of the slide, or if you would like to wait until the end, that's entirely up to you. We also have a chat button, which you can see at the bottom of your screen. You can always type it into the chat as we go along. So any of those options is good, so whichever one that you wanted to choose, but we're open to questions. So again, just like everyone has said, welcome to Berks Career and Technology Center's cosmetology program. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a few minutes to explain some of the policies of the school and the cosmetology program itself. One thing that you might be wondering is that we're going to be giving you a lot of information. You might be taking notes, which is good. However, the actual information we're giving you is also going to be on our website. Okay, so just give it a couple days. We're also recording this session, so if you would like to view that at a later time, our IT person said to give it maybe about a week till everything is up and running. So again, welcome to cosmetology. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to be talking about the state licensure, which Mrs. Rudy Anderson did talk about a little bit. Upon completion of your 1,250 hours of education, the state board exam must be completed to obtain a license to practice in Pennsylvania. So after you get your 1,250, you'll be prepared to go take your state board exam, and once you pass that, you'll be a licensed cosmetologist. And I have some other good news. The state board approved a few years ago that when you reach 900 hours, and your teacher feels that you're significantly competent in the curriculum, you can go for your test early after 900 hours. Then you'll pass your test. You're not licensed at that point, but you're in line to receive your license. So as soon as you would finish the 1,250 hours, your instructor would just need to send in a new transcript. And as soon as the board received that transcript of completion, then you would get your license in the mail. So that's a really nice feature that you know that you're in line and all you got to do is finish up and bam, you're licensed.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about random kit checks. We will get into the kit itself in a little bit, but for right now, we want you to know that the kits need to be in the classroom at all times with all of the equipment that is supposed to be inside of it. Randomly, the State Board of Cosmetology will come in and do kit inspections, and you can get up to a $50 fine for each missing item. So it's very important that your things are inside of your kit and your kit is locked and in the designated area where you're supposed to keep your kit. So if there is missing equipment, you will not receive hours until all the equipment is back in the school. This includes anything that's borrowed, possibly stolen, lost, or broken items.
Okay. All right, so next we're going to be talking about attendance. Did you have something else to say, Mrs. Scholl?
No.
You good? Okay, just making sure. didn't want to cut you off. So attendance, of course, is always important at school. But just so you guys know that in cosmetology, it is extremely important. We're very different than other programs in that we are a certification program. So you're going to be working towards obtaining those 1,250 hours in the 3 years that you're here. So it's really important for a couple reasons. Number one, obviously to get those 1,250 hours in so that you can sit to take your state licensure. The second reason being is you're going to really start to become deficient in getting behind your classmates and your classwork and getting work done. And then it gets to be kind of stressful to try to get yourself caught up. So we don't really care about your attendance in the past because that wasn't our issue or our problem, but we really do worry about your attendance in the future. We really want you to be there. It's vital. It's important. We need you to be there. So if it's one of those days where you're like, oh, I just don't feel like getting up and I just don't feel like going, you really need to try to not do that. And you really need to try to get yourself here. We need you in the classroom. That's the best way that we can get to teach you haircuts or color or whatever it is what we're doing is for you to be there with us. So we really want you to be in school. Our school program has, probably like yours does, if you are absent, you either need to have your parents call in or send in excuse blanks. And our policy at our school is 3 days. If it's past the 3 days, the school, not cosmetology, but the school, it goes somewhat against your work ethic grade. So it's really important that you're here. And each of your schools are also a little bit unique in that they all send a different time. We have 16 different districts that come to us, and that's why we have 2 campuses. The west side of the county comes to the west campus, and the east side goes to the east. So each school, for example, if I pick out Wilson District, they get 145 minutes a day, as opposed to Conrad Weiser gets 184 minutes at the West Campus with us a day. So each school is unique and a little bit different. We literally clock your time in from the time you come into the classroom to the time that you leave. Okay. And I think Mrs. Quick and Mrs. Schultz probably said the hours that you're getting, you know, they're by the state board. So we have, which we're going to be going over, policies and rules in order for you to be able to get those. So attendance is extremely important. Okay. If you have great attendance and your school has good hours, then you could actually be done pretty early in your senior year and do some of those other career objectives that we talked about. And unfortunately, if you have very poor attendance, and your school was able to get the hours in and our school was open, we do sometimes have students that end up having to come back as adults and pay an hourly rate. And it's close to $9, not quite, but close to $9 an hour. And that can get pretty expensive. So look at this as a great free education. Yes, your parents are paying their taxes, but if you went to a private beauty school, this would cost a lot of money. So you're getting a really good education. We teach the same things here that you would get at a private beauty school.
Also, Mrs. Anderson, you started to talk about if they miss, how things build upon each other. If you could say a little bit more.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of things that we do in cosmetology, level 1, 2, and 3, and all levels, they're building. And if you learn step 1, 2, and 3, you really need to know how to do step 1 before you can move on to do 2. And then before you can move on to do 3. And if you've missed 1, 2, and 3 and your class is on 4, that can become very stressful of trying to get caught up and the attention that you need. So that being said, we don't want you to come to school if you're sick. If you're truly sick, stay home. But at the same point, you know, those days where you just were like, I don't feel like going, you really need to try to avoid those. We move at a very fast pace in our classroom, all of us, and we really can't slow down. And it's not because we don't want to, it's because we have a state certified 1,250 hour program, and we must cover all of that information in the 3 years. So we really don't have a whole lot of wiggle room to, you know, move at a very slow pace.
Mrs. Quick or Mrs. Noecker, there's a question in the chat that says, what happens if the student moves to another state after receiving their license? Would one of you like to answer that?
Sure, I can. We have what's known about reciprocity between states. So depending on what the hourly requirement is of the state that you're moving to. So for example, if you're moving to Florida, I believe their hours are 1,000 and we're at 1,250. So many times what they'll do is they will take our license, okay, your license, and you would just have to turn it into a Florida license. However, if you're moving like to California, which is 2,000 hours, there's different options. So it varies by state. So for example, in California, if you've been in Pennsylvania working for, usually it's like 2 years, what would happen is if you would go out to California, they might approve because you have been working in the industry for the 2 years. If it's under 2 years, they might have you come back for additional hours. Some states even require you to take a state law test because the state law is going to vary between states. So what you need to do if you're thinking of possibly moving, before you do, what you want to do is contact the State Board of Cosmetology for that state. They're going to give you all the information. So what we call it is this a reciprocity between states. So, you know, you just have to look it up as many, you know, for as far as how many hours are needed.
Hope that answers your question. If we can get any other questions answered, keep putting them in the chat or feel free to unmute your mic. Otherwise, we're going to keep
another question too from Tarina.
Okay.
It says, how do we make up hours if we need to miss because of illness? That's a very good question. I'm glad that you asked that because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are wondering but just didn't ask that. So thank you for asking that. There's actually a lot of things that you can do. There usually is a little bit of cushion or a little bit of play because most people are going to have an illness here or there. But if it's a long-term illness or something like that, there are different things that you can do to make up those hours. For instance, every other year, each of the campuses, 1 year West goes, 1 year East goes to the New York Hair Show, which is a field trip. And that's a way that we get 8 hours of additional hours that you could build extra time. We do allow you, if your school is closed and you want to come in, there's a special permission to stay all day form that you can get to stay all day once in a while. We don't do that all the time. So there's some different things that we can do to be able to give you guys some extra hours. Every now and then we do an evening clinic. That's another way that you can get some extra hours. So there are some different ways that you can make those up. Hopefully that answered your question.
Anybody else see any chats? No? Okay.
That was the last one.
All right.
Okay, the uniform policy. I'm sure you're all wondering as far as what do I need to do? How do I go ahead and get my uniform? Just so that you do know, it's a state law that students are in uniform. So with knowing that, it says students must be in proper uniform to receive hours for the time that they're here. Our uniform policy is outlined below. So let me just start by saying that with your uniform, what you do is you come in and you check in with us. And everyone's expected to be in uniform in order to receive those hours. So if you're there and you forgot your uniform, we unfortunately cannot give you hours. That's not our rule, it's actually state law rule. Okay, so students are to wear black scrub pants, black V-neck scrub shirt, no lettering or pictures, and the color of the apron that designates their level, black leather clinic uniform shoes, or all black leather sneakers, no canvas sneakers. The apron will be included in the student's kit. If you wish to purchase an additional apron, they'll be available to the student throughout the school year. So let's just go back. Later on in this presentation, we're going to be talking about where you can purchase this uniform. Students all have lockers, and you change at the school. So you would come in, you would go into the locker, you would change, come out, and then at the end of the day, of course, go in, change to go either home or back to your home school. So we ask that you take them home and launder them. However, some people have already bought more than one set, so they could have one at home and one there at the school. So the black scrub pants and the black V-neck shirt will be purchased on our website under the uniform under cosmetology. Now, the apron that we're talking about is just a regular apron, and one side of the apron is black and the other one is silver. That is included in the price of the kit. So that is not online anywhere. So with the apron, so for example, Miss Level 1, I believe both of you have silver.
Mhm.
Okay, the silver, and then when you're a Level 2, you turn it to the other side, which is black. Then when you're a Level 3, if you want to go out and get one with your name on, or if you want to use either the silver or black, it's entirely up to you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the uniform as we go on, Mrs. Scholl. Okay, so uniforms are to be washed on a regular basis. Shoes are to be kept clean. Please remind your son or daughter to bring these items home to be clean. If uniforms are dirty and unacceptable for school, you'll be notified of this. Now, let me just talk about the shoes a little bit more. Now, the shoes you're going to go out and purchase on your own. They would have to be a black canvas, black sneaker or a black leather uniform shoe. No canvas. And the reason for this is we do work with chemicals. So we don't want any chemicals going into the canvas and onto the foot. So it has to be the closed uniform shoe or a black sneaker. Now, what you can do is if you're unsure if what you have purchased is okay, keep the receipts. Mrs. Anderson always says keep the receipts. Bring them in with you, so just in case you have to take them and return them. But please think of comfort. You are going to be in those shoes for a long time. So you're going to be standing a lot. Okay, so just make sure they are very comfortable. Okay, we don't want like the sneakers that have all different colors and all that. We are all one. So if you think of a basketball team and they're all in the same uniform, that's what we are supposed to be looking like as well. We are a team. So if you think about that basketball team and one person has a different shirt on, you can see how that would stand out. Okay, so all of you are expected to be in the uniform. This is the first day of school, but as far as I know, Mrs. Anderson and Mrs. Scholl, I believe you allow that the second day of school, that they should bring it along with them, but you have them change the second day. Am I correct?
Yep.
Okay.
I just like to check it to make sure it's okay.
Mrs. Scholl, is that good with you as well?
That's fine, sure.
I'm not sure if you change. Okay. So what we do is we have you bring it in. I mean, it's a lot the first day to make sure that you get on the right bus to go to our school, to make sure you're on the right bus, the timing and so forth. So so you get there and we hand out the locker numbers and so forth. So it's a little much the first day, so we usually don't expect you to be in uniform the first day. Now, this isn't on the slide, but just a few notes as far as with the uniform. Hoodies, okay, hooded sweatshirts are not allowed. Again, think of that team. And if you have that big, huge puff ball of the hood underneath, like back there, it really does not look professional. So we ask that there's no hoodies. Also, some people are cooler than other people as far as temperature-wise. So somebody might think it's cool. Some people might think it's warm. So what we always say is just bring along a long black sleeve, no letter, shirt, keep it in your locker, then you can always wear that under the V-neck top. We do not allow other pants underneath the uniform. So I do know that some people come in and think, well, I'm just gonna leave my jeans on for the day and just put my uniform pants over. Well, we don't allow that. So you cannot have anything under the scrub pants. You must have socks on, okay? We do check also because we have many of you in one locker room, and it can get smelly if we have people that don't wear socks. So I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about, but shoes sometimes can smell. So what we asked you to do is have your black socks and make sure that you're in some, socks with the shoes. Are there any questions, or any of you have anything to add to the uniform?
I have a question.
Okay.
You said that there's nothing allowed under the pants. Does that include like leggings if my legs get cold?
Ms. Anderson, do you want to address that?
We
Excuse
really prefer, we had
Yeah.
to change our rules, and we did change the rules to, you really need to change into the uniform. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have a question. Zoe has clogged nursing shoes that are black leather but white soles. Is that suitable?
As far as I know, they're all black,
Solid black.
right?
Okay. And what if we move anytime we are attending BCTC, for example, a new state or out of Berks County? The hours that you obtain with our classroom, Berks Career and Technology Center, they are transferable to another cosmetology program. So you won't lose your hours. We can transfer them if you're going to be going to another school. But you have to remember, when you do start accumulating your hours, all of your hours need to be accumulated within 4 consecutive years or they disappear. So that's a very important thing to know, that you shouldn't take a break. So if you do switch to another school, get enrolled in their cosmetology program and keep continuing with your education and finish up. Does that answer your question?
The one thing that we've taken notice is when students go to some other schools, like normally vocational students across the state will accept hours, the same hours. When you go to a private school, you have to remember they're a business. Okay, so a lot of times they'll have, I don't know how exactly they do it, but I know they don't always give the student that's transferring in the amount of hours that they have already received. So we've had that in the past as well.
Okay. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So Mrs. Nager?
Okay, I will start with the classroom supplies. Okay, so in addition to your kit that you're going to be purchasing online to have for the classroom, you want to purchase a small lock for your kit. It's very important that you keep your kit locked to make sure that you don't wind up missing anything from your kit if somebody decides to borrow something and then it doesn't get returned. So please lock your kit. You could do a small key, and then you would give 1 key to your instructor and then have another key for yourself, or there are small combination locks, but you would need to give your instructor the combination so that we could have it in the file in case for some reason you lost your key or you forgot your combination. Okay, nail polish of assorted colors, including red, black, and white. So they're important colors that we would like you to have. The red color is one of the most important because you'll take a NOCTI exam your senior year, and it has to be a red polish that's applied when you're doing your exam. You will also need a cuticle remover. And when you're purchasing cuticle remover, keep in mind it's not the tool that removes cuticle, it's the lotion that you put on that before you would push the cuticles back. You'll need a notebook for the class and something to write with. Never come to school without something to write with. We always expect to have something.
Not cosmetology.
But you'll have mousse, gel, and hairspray that you'll be able to use on your mannequins.
And that could be cheapy stuff too. It doesn't have to be, you're only using it on a mannequin.
Yeah, dollar store's good.
Yep, does not have to be top of the line for that. The mannequins don't care. You'll need 2 small containers for your clips. The clips do come in a paper box, and the box tends to fall apart after a while. So if you have a small container, it could be an empty butter dish or a Ziploc container, they work perfect. Containers for your rollers and your perm rods. Again, the rollers come in a box with cellophane on the top, so they'll be falling all over your kit. So you want to have a nice organizer or caboodle that you can put your rollers in, and the perm rods come in plastic bags. So you'll want to be able to organize them in there also. You'll need a black and a silver Sharpie. We use these to put initials on all of your tools. I think the West Campus might use numbers, right? Numbers?
Yep,
Okay.
we do an ID number.
Okay. And you'll need a shampoo and conditioner. Again, doesn't have to be expensive, and a small bottle of lotion, hand lotion. And I don't see on here a hand sanitizer. I think we should have had that.
I agree. I don't see it either.
So a small hand sanitizer.
Even though you're kits are locked, we also keep them in a big cabinet, and that cabinet's locked at the end of your session. So AM has a big cabinet with a lock on it, and so does PM.
Okay, so there's a question in the chat. Is there financial aid options available for the kits if needed?
And we turn that to Dr. Stoffer if he's still there.
Just trying to unmute.
Okay.
There we go. I was trying to get my video on. All right. So basically, so if there is like a financial hardship, the first thing that we do is we ask it to go back to the sending schools. And then if there's still some issues there, then we can certainly work that out. And we have those from time to time in the programs throughout the year, and we always work through those issues.
Okay, and then we have another one. Should the lotion be non-scented? The lotion can have a fresh scent to it. You just want to really make sure that you're watching the scents that you do choose, because somebody could be allergic to something that you're using. So make sure you're picking lotions with caution.
And this is to be used on yourself. When we get to clinic, you would use a clinic lotion for a client.
Okay. Each student is provided a lock and a locker with us at Berks Career and Technology Center. We're asking you to use those lockers and keep those lockers locked as well, just like your kit. If you don't keep your locker locked, at any time somebody's in the locker room, they could go into your locker and your things could go missing. So it's very important that you keep that locker locked. Students will arrive in their street clothes and change here for cosmetology class, and then change back into their street clothes to return to their sending school. I know we often have that question of, do I need to wear that uniform to school all day? You don't have to. You actually change right in the locker room that's provided for you. But again, the importance of locking that locker and keeping all your items, your book bag, your purses, your lunch, all those things must be locked in that locker. It's for safety purposes.
And the other thing I'll just kind of bring up as we're talking about the lockers and your uniform that's in there, hygiene is extremely important in our classroom. So it's really important that you take those uniforms home on a weekly basis. If you can have, like Mrs. Quick said, if you're able to have two, that you can have one at home and one at school, and then just switch them out, that's great. But if not, please make sure that you're taking home every week. None of the four of us like to have the hygiene talk, but we do it if we have to, for the sake of everybody else. So just make sure that you're washing those, because after a while those socks get pretty nasty.
And it is okay to keep a deodorant in your locker. It really is. Sometimes we're learning new things and we tend to perspire, so keep the deodorants.
Remember, if you don't wear your socks and your shoes are smelling, your shoes are right in there with your uniform, and your uniform is absorbing that smell. And so you may not smell it yourself because you become nose blind to your own scent, but others around you will be able to smell it. And it's happened. That's why we bring it up.
Anything else, ladies?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, so on to the grading policy. How do you get graded at the Career Center? So let's just talk about this a little bit, because it could be a little bit different than you're being graded back at your home school. So at the Career Center, remember that we're trying to prepare you for a career in the world of work. So we basically have two categories that we're grading you on, and one of those categories is knowledge, and then the other one that we're going to talk about is called work ethic. So the knowledge category are all of these things that are listed. Things such as homework in the classroom, maybe projects that we're giving you to do, or like a written typed paper that we're giving you to do. It might even be a classroom activity that we're doing, and say work with a partner and hand it in before the end of the day. Clinical, which would be when we do in junior and senior level, outside people from the public coming in, and then you're learning to do services with assistance with getting help to do tasks on them. And then practical tasks could be on your mannequin that you're working, or it could be tasks that you're doing on each other. Okay. And then we also have the category of tests and quizzes. With your tests and quizzes at our school, school-wide, not just cosmetology, in order to pass a test, you need to get an 80% or better in order to pass that test. Okay. If you take a test and you get less than that, then we have you retake and retest on that until you can get an 80. All right. So you might think, oh, that's not too great. We don't have to do that back at home school. But especially in cosmetology, you have to remember, ultimately in 3 years, you're going to have to retain the information from all 3 years and be able to take a state license, which is a written exam on all the knowledge that you know. So if I were to say to you, 60, it's okay, we're just going to push you through, it's really not, and I'm really setting you up for failure because when you go to take your state board exam, you have a certain cutoff and you need to get a certain percentage in order to pass to get your licensure. So that 80%, by being consistent and always having to get that, by the time you go for your state license, you guys are going to be so prepared and so good at it that you're not going to be that stressed about it because you're used to getting an 80% or better. Right. And all the tests that you learn with Mrs. Scholl and I in level 1, you'll be revisiting those tests again, second level and third level, because we want you to retain that information for 3 years. So it's not like you're only going to see it one time and then never see it again. You'll see it with us, but then we're going to reinforce that learning multiple times. So it's just going to become very comfortable for you.
Mm-hmm.
It is important, I will stress, homework in our classroom. None of the 4 of us agree. We all work very closely together. We're all on the same page. And we feel that homework that we give you needs to be relevant. It needs to be important. And it's not busy work. We don't give you stuff just to do it. It's totally related to what we're learning. Whatever we're learning that day, you're going to be doing something of homework that night. But they are going to be getting, moms and dads and guardians, they're going to be getting a lot of homework in level 1 because they're learning everything for the first time. They're learning new vocabulary, new tools, new techniques. There's lots of quizzes, lots of tests. So there's going to be quite a fair amount of homework, but that's because it's all things that are going to be helping you to get that good base that you need to be able to take that licensure. And I don't know if there's anything you guys want to add.
I would just like to add with the tests that the 80% needs to be achieved to get marked off for the competency. But however, if you earn, say, a 70 on your first test, that grade's the one that goes towards your report card. And then you'll keep retaking until you get an 80 to get marked off for the competency.
Okay. And then the second portion, Mrs. Schultz, thank you, is the work ethic. And probably most of you have not been graded at your homeschool on a work ethic because they're not preparing you to go right out into a career. At the Career Center, 20% of your grade we base on a work ethic, and that's like things that would be in the workforce and your attitude. Because basically our job is preparing you to be good, productive citizens and have a really good, strong work ethic. We like to send students out there that are prepared and ready. And both schools, both campuses, we have a pretty good relationship with a lot of the salon owners. They know that we're strong with our students. They know that we have a good curriculum. So if you guys want jobs, we have a lot of people calling in for our students because they know that we're very strict on all these items. So when you come in, we basically say that you come in either having it or earning the right for these work ethic attitude points. And you know, you do the things that we ask you, and that's a pretty easy way to get 20% of your grade. So some of the things, and again, there's others, but some of the things, examples would be, for example, if you don't have your uniform for the day, you wouldn't get points. You would get points taken off of your work ethic grade. You would also, if you remember from earlier, you also wouldn't get hours. And that's not our school rule. That's not Berks Career and Technology Center. That's the State Board of Cosmetology that we have to follow the law. So we're not doing it to be ugly, but as Mrs. Quick had mentioned earlier, we're a team and everybody in the team has to be a part of following the law. So if one person is not in their uniform, then we can't give hours, because if we have a site inspection, which is, they're always unplanned, and they walk in and we've given hours to someone, then our school can get a citation for doing that. So we have to follow the law. So it's not that we're trying to be mean about it, it's just we have to follow the law. If you have any kit items that are missing, so for example, let's say that I'm teaching a haircut today, and you decided to take your haircutting shears home, and now we're all doing the haircut today. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to perform that haircut for the day. So again, it's putting you behind. So you always need to make sure that you have things there. You guys own your kit, so you can take things home. We encourage you to practice on things, work on things to get better, and to work on family members and things like that. But you always have to remember, you have to bring those items back every day. So whatever you're taking home, just make sure that you're bringing back. Okay. Homework's important to all 4 of us. So you do need to make sure that your homework is done, and on a due date, we give you a time frame. And then every class member, level 1, 2, and 3, all class members have a daily chore that they have to do, as well as clean up their station, because those are expectations what we would do in a salon. You always have to make sure your station is cleaned and sanitary, the floor swept up, and then each student will have a small chore. Somebody has to sweep a floor area. Somebody has to change the barbicide disinfectant bottles. Like, everybody has something to do, and that's how we're able to stay so sanitary, so clean, efficient. And again, it's a team process of everybody doing that. So if, somebody's not doing that, and there's 3 or 4 people not doing that, it's really affecting the team, because we could actually not pass an inspection for people not doing those things. So we have managers that actually check the chores every day to make sure that they're done, okay, because it's so important in our classroom. And then the last example, there's other things, but the last example would be refusal of clinic. You have to remember that we're here to help you. And so we understand that you're going to maybe be nervous to do clinic. That's totally understandable, but we're there to help you, and we'll help you get through it. But you can't refuse doing a clinic. You can't say, oh, I just don't want to do that, okay? Because that's exactly what you're here to learn to do. So that's unacceptable to refuse clinics. Is there anything that I missed, or anything you guys wanted to?
There is a question in the chat. What if we're going into 11th grade? Are we able to get our license in 2 years?
No, unfortunately not. However, the good news, let's look at the positive side first. The positive side is in 2 years, you can get as many hours as possible. So you want to have that really good attendance, and you want to take advantage of any of the extra hour things that you can do to get extra hours. And you can get as many of those in as possible, so that you have less to do. However, our school is usually very good about, if they've accepted you in the program, they really want you to finish with us. So they'll leave a spot for you to come back as an adult. And then whatever hours you don't finish of the 1250, you would come back your next year and finish as an adult student in our program. There is another choice, which is we could transfer your hours, as I think Mrs. Noacker said earlier. We could transfer your hours to a private beauty school, but of course we'd like to probably keep you with us if that would be possible to finish with us.
Any questions?
Hopefully that answered the question.
Oh, there is one.
Will we have to wear a mask this year?
We don't know yet.
I don't think any of us
Very good
know
question.
truly the answer to that at this point. It could be possible.
I do know that Dr. Levine and the State Board of Cosmetology are going to be discussing some things in the near future.
Okay.
Great. Mrs. Noacker.
So I think that's mine.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, so this is the exciting part, the clinic. So you went through level 1 and you have all your basics, and Mrs. Scholl and Mrs. Anderson prepared you. So now you come out to what we call the clinic floor, and you're a level 2. So you still are going to be learning Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. We have theory classes, and when we talk about theory class, it can be a theory practical, it can be a theory. So you still have those days of learning. Then on Thursdays and Fridays, now not every Thursday, it's the first and third Thursday of the month we have clinic, but every Friday we have clinic. Now the clinic, who comes to our clinic? We have people from the outside that know that we're open. They come. Parents, you may come. We have students from other programs come, grandmothers, aunts, you name it. First thing is that our prices are very, very reasonable. We can only charge for materials only, and again, that's a law. So what this does is it's actually helping students, it's helping you to put all those things that you've learned to practice. So it's exciting. So it says a vital part of the students' training here at BCTC is the clinic that we operate 2 days during the week. Students who are on level 2 and level 3 operate the clinic. This gives students an opportunity to see what working in a salon is really like. The clinic offers all services found in a full-service salon. We do facials, makeup, everything with the hair, skin, and nails. We know, just like Mrs. Anderson said, we know that you're going to be nervous. Anyone would be. However, that's what you have us there for. We are going to be right by your sides. We tell you, we help you get started, we ask you questions. And the thing that you have to remember about clinic is this is what you're prepared for. So that when you'll have all this behind you, so when you do get out into the salon, you've had this training with our clinic. What you have to remember is we can teach you how to do something. Okay, we can tell you how to put color on. We can show you how to do a manicure. There's a huge part of our industry that you have to be able to do and want to do. And that is working with people. We are a people industry. So we have to know how to communicate with clients, how to do a consultation with the client. And we do have some classes on communications and so forth. But if you're a very quiet person and you think, oh, I don't know how to talk to an old lady, things such as that, you might want to think about this again. We can help you, but 80% of our clientele stay with us because of what we call our people skills or our soft skills. And that's because people will remember how we treat them. Okay, they're going to know that we had good manners and we could talk to the person, we could look them in the eye. There's a lot to the clinic that is a major eye-opener for a lot of young people. So with saying that, some people will refuse because they just don't want to do it today. We don't have many of those, believe me. Mrs. Anderson and Mrs. Scholl get you prepared. They have you work with different students and so forth. But when you come out there, we're there. Okay, so we will be able to help you with that. Like I said, we do have a couple classes on communication and telephone skills and so forth. So there is no refusing clients. And like I said, we don't have that often. But if we do have it and you say, I'm not doing that, well, then you are taken out of the classroom because clinic continues, the other students continue, and is dealt with. So I don't want to be negative. We don't have much of that. But again, people skills count for most of your clinic. Anyone else want to jump in there?
I agree. Clinic cannot be refused. It's okay to say, Mrs. Noecker, I'm really scared. I'm nervous to do this client.
Right.
We don't know what to do, but we certainly will be with you and we'll guide you through it. If we have more than one student that's nervous, we'll find a senior that's confident in that area, but you will not be left alone. And we do have an instructional assistant in our classroom that is licensed cosmetology teacher. So she'll be able to help also. So you're never left alone. We will not let you sink.
Okay.
There is another question in the chat. It says, if the school year has a late start, will it affect our hours and what are we learning and what we are learning?
If the school year has a late start, we can only give the hours from the time that we arrive at the school until the time that we leave. So it will affect, but It generally doesn't really affect the finish time of your 1,250 hours. We have that kind of built into the school year. And as for learning, we'll be trying to catch up. But now that we have this new online Schoology, there's a possibility that when the school is a late start or it's closed, there'll be some online things that could be done. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
And I'm sure the school will adjust too. Like, we might have a later start, but then we're going to probably go later in the year. They'll adjust to, moving it to a slightly different way, or a new normal for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like this past year, we were doing online learning and teaching, and the state board allowed us to give hours for certain subjects. So that was a great help to the people, the students getting their hours. So we don't know how it's going to start in the fall, if they're going to allow that again. If we can't open right away, we'll see.
Okay.
Okay, enrollment requirements. Okay, so before you start the cosmetology program, there's an application that needs to be notarized. It's due by the first Friday in August. It needs to be mailed to Student Services at either the West Campus or the East Campus in which your student will be attending. Your kit needs to be ordered online and your payments made to Burmax no later than July 31st, 2020. And we need that to be ordered by that date to ensure that your kit arrives to the beginning of the school year. Again, remember, the kit needs to be at school for you to start earning your hours. So it's very important to order that kit before July 31st so you can make sure that it comes to the classroom. And like it says, your kit's required for the state board hours and for our curriculums, that you can work on whatever it is that your instructor is teaching that day.
Okay. As of today, the price of the kit is $526.72. The kit contains your textbook and all the supplies that the students will need for instruction, except for the consumables, which is the list that we went through a little bit earlier. The uniform, which must be ordered on BCTC's website. We have provided a cosmetology kit online Burmax form. These things are actually in your new student orientation book that you should have received. There's also a copy of that new student orientation form on our BCTC website as well. When you go on to the beautyschoolstore.com and register, you need to set up an account first, and then the code that you need to put in is the SLK304958, which is in your new student orientation book. And then we want to say, just please refer to the new student orientation booklet. It's page 18 and 19 for the form details, how to go about ordering that. You can choose your left-handed or right-handed shears at that point also, so you have the right shears for your kit.
And one thing too, Mrs. Shull, I think on the form, if I'm correct, it does ask which campus that you're going to be going to. So please make sure that you're putting the correct campus if you're going to the west or the east. That's very important because they're going to put your name on the kit and then they're going to actually send that to the school. So the kit's not going to be coming to your home. It's going to be coming to the school so that we have it for you.
Correct, because we do go through the kit with you. We go through it together to make sure that everybody has all the supplies that they need. Okay, a chat just came in. I'm just attending the makeup hours I didn't receive at my other school. So do I have to order a new uniform, or can I use what I have from my previous school?
What kind of uniform do you have from your previous school?
Mrs. Noacker, I believe she's joining us. So you know what, if you want to hang on at the end, we could talk to you individually about that. Is it Tashia? Okay, so another question was, when do you get the new student orientation booklet sent out?
I actually do believe that they're not sending the new student orientation booklet out. It's going to be, it actually now is online. It's posted on our website. If you go on to the BCTC website, there is a new student orientation tab. You click on that tab and then it will say orientation guides. You click on that and then you go through all the different programs. So you'll click on cosmetology, and cosmetology East and West, we're the same because we have the same, orientation booklet. And actually, there's a lot more information, students and parents, that you want to read over that we're not going over tonight, such as school lunches, how to look at parent portal for grades, career safe training that all 10th grader or all new students are going to be getting. So there's a lot of things that are on there. It gives you itemized things in the kit. So a lot more detail than what we're able to cover tonight just because of time. So you definitely want to go on and get that. I believe, and maybe somebody can shout out and let us know, you should have received the application for enrollment. I believe those were sent out last week from our guidance department. That was the form that Mrs. Noecker was talking about that you'll have to get notarized. That should be, everybody should have that. And then it has a self-addressed stamped envelope once you get it filled out and notarized to send back. And I'm going to just quick answer a question that I usually get every year from parents, and nobody asked it, but I'm sure a lot of you are thinking it. Why do I have to have my son or daughter's social security number on that application for enrollment? Just so you understand, the only reason we use that is their identity, and that is attached to their name when we do the quarterly reports and send them up to the state board in Harrisburg. So they are kept in a closed and locked file. It's only the teachers that have it, and in order to obtain hours, they do have to have the notarized application for enrollment. We can't actually give them hours until we have that form.
Okay, we have another question. What happens if we order the kit and everything and we don't end up going back to school? We just have online.
Well, at some point, we're going to be going back to school. We can't continue this for the rest of our lives. So it could be temporary again, that, you know, for a period of time that we're not going to be. But I don't think 1,250 hours that we would be continuing to do this all online.
There are hands-on activities or hands-on skills that we can teach you online from us at home and you at home. So it can be done. We were making it happen, and we'll make it happen again.
I'd like to just say about, I'm sure some of the parents are thinking, oh my goodness, $526, that's a lot of money. I agree at first when you do see that number, $526, especially in nowadays, especially with everything that's going on in the world, $526 is a lot. However, just kind of keep in mind this is your son or daughter's education, and they're going to have everything that they're going to need for the next 3 years. They are going to have their mannequins, from mannequins to clippers to, like they said before, rollers, perm rods, manicure kit, everything that they're going to need. Now, is it possible they might want something else in those 3 years? That's up to the individual. But your textbook alone, and if you've ever bought a college textbook, I'm not sure right now, what is it, $100 some dollars just for the textbook alone. So students, this is your textbook to write in, to take notes in, and this is something that you can always refer back to. So it's actually an investment in the student's education.
The tools in that kit can actually get them started in their new career as well. Then, you know, once they have a job, they could replace things little at a time. So next question is, when is the form that was sent out need to be sent back? The enrollment form, is that, I'm thinking that's what they're speaking of, that would need to be back by the first week in August.
Yep.
Okay. We are planning to purchase a used kit from a cosmetology student that graduated this year. Do we need to let the instructor know that?
It's probably the one that reached out to us, Mrs. Anderson.
Yeah. I think we might be aware of that student already, if that's at the West Campus. And that's totally fine. Yeah. And that's totally fine. Yep. That's totally fine.
Sydney. Yeah.
You got it, yes.
What we're just, the only thing I have to do is just change ID numbers before school starts so that we don't have two of the same, but that's not a problem.
And possibly purchasing mannequins, because our mannequins were already cut. So as long as there's everything there, that would save you, a great deal of money.
So
as long as Sydney goes on the kit list.
When you mentioned that, Mrs. Quick, the mannequins, when we start into hair cutting as a level 1, or, you know, even when you're learning, continuing to learn as a level 2 and 3, sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes errors can happen.
Yeah.
But with the mannequin, the hair doesn't grow back. So when we get into hair cutting, if we have those moments where it gets a little shorter than we anticipated, we may need you, or we will ask you to purchase another mannequin. So just be aware of that, because we do need to keep one long-haired mannequin so you can use it for your NOCTI test at the end of the school, your 3rd level year.
And for those of you that don't know what NOCTI is, it's a national test that all students in the career centers take.
Okay, so we're kind of going to sort of start to wrap up for tonight as far as the information that we want to go over. So the 4 of us are big on checklists because we always want to make sure that you're covering and knowing everything. And keep in mind, just a reminder that this is being recorded. So if there's something you want to go back and listen to, within a week, it'll be posted on our website, again, under that new student orientation and under cosmetology, that you can look at it at any time for reference. Also, please pass this along to your friends. There's a lot of people that maybe were not able to come tonight. If you know they're going to be in the program and you know that, let them know that this is going to be available for them to watch. And then you can also contact, we have our contact information on the new student orientation information in the website as well. So just kind of looking back and looking over, what are the most important things that you need to have for that first week of school so that you're prepared? The first one that you want to work on is that enrollment form. Again, you have up until the first Friday in August, but I mean, last year I had students that had it in by the end of May, and then that way they didn't forget about it. They didn't lose the paper. That would be me, because I would lose it if I would do it right away. I like to get things off of my desk. So that can be done at any time. And then there's a self-addressed envelope that's right with that to go back to the campus. And then the secretaries will see that we get that. So you can do that at any time, okay? I will make caution that when you're doing it, you do need to, I believe, have an ID for them to notarize, and some of the people won't notarize it unless you have your ID with you. So try to make sure you remember that for when you get it notarized. You need to order your kit. And again, as Mrs. Scholl said, the online order form for Burmax is on the website. In the new student orientation book, I believe we said page 18 and 19, if I'm correct. I think that's what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. And all the information and step-by-step is there listed for you as far as procedure of what you need to do for that. Uniform, Mrs. Quick went over that. Again, just make sure that you're getting that full uniform. You have everything that you need. The apron does come with the kit, so that you don't need to get, but everything else you will. And then the last items are those consumable items that Mrs. Noecker went over. And again, those are all also listed in the new student orientation booklet as well, so that you can kind of take a picture shot of that or screenshot of that for when you're going out to buy those supplies. Is there anything else that you guys want to add of anything that we might have missed?
I was just wondering if anyone jumped on here or came into the Zoom meeting after you took roll call. Is there anyone that missed roll call?
Yeah, if there is, if you could unmute yourself and let us know, because we need to take a record of who was here. So if you came in late, that's totally fine, but just so we could know, or you could type it in the chat also.
Tanya Mays, Cheyenne Hicks.
Okay, Tanya Mays. Got it, thank you. And then Hicks, you said the next
Yes,
one.
Cheyenne.
Cheyenne, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, guys.
I think that's the last of the questions in the chat box. So this screen right here is Mrs. Anderson and myself, Mrs. Scholl, our information to contact us. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out and we will get back to you as soon as possible with the answers to your questions. Up here comes another chat. On the shoes, what if the Nike symbol is like a gray or white? Would that matter?
We do prefer that they're all black. Because again, if all of the team members, somebody has a white, somebody has a yellow, next thing you know, we don't really look like a team anymore. We're all kind of all over the place. So we really do prefer all black.
Okay, any other questions?
How
Del-
much do the mannequins cost?
The mannequins were $30 this year. I don't know if they'll be the same price for next year or not. It depends on the company that we purchased them from.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Mrs. Anderson, do you have a Delmari Santos?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Question from her?
You will be attending the West Campus with Mrs. Anderson.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Just to confirm, all Mifflin kids go to the Leesport campus. That is actually not correct this year. There are Mifflin students that are coming to the East Campus. There was a lot of enrollment at the West Campus, so some of them will be attending East Campus, which is unusual for us. We normally don't have Governor Mifflin. There's also, what's the other school? Wyomissing. We normally don't have Wyomissing either, but I do have some Wyomissing, some Governor Mifflin, and
Fleetwood too, don't you?
Fleetwood students, yes. And you normally all would attend the West Campus, but you're going to be at the East Campus. Not all of you, but some of you.
So do Exeter students go to East or West?
East.
Exeter comes to East Campus.
All right, thank you.
Is there ever a switch of campuses? Usually when you, yeah, I mean, if you move, yes, but usually if you start at the East Campus, you'll stay at the East Campus unless you would move to a district or an area that would end up changing you to the West Campus. Hamburg typically normally is West Campus, but we do have some students from Hamburg at the East Campus.
Wow.
Where was Zoe Ann? Zoe Ann?
Metcalf. Yeah, she's at the West Campus, Hamburg. So Zoe, you'll be at the West Campus with me.
My daughter's at Mifflin and was told she was sent to the other campus due to numbers. Correct.
Okay.
But could be switched. Okay. Normally, we don't switch in the middle of the school year unless there's somebody who moves, but
yeah.
Ladies, I don't think that we got our admission in the mail yet. So you were saying that you think everyone's has come in so far?
What should have been in the mail to you was the application for enrollment form for cosmetology. Everybody that's here tonight has already been accepted to the program, but to officially get in and for us to be able to get hours for your son or daughter, we have to have this application for enrollment with their social security number. So that's the form that we were talking about that should have been sent in the mail.
Okay, so if we don't have that, can we print that off online to get another copy?
I don't know that it's online, but what you could do is you could call the school and talk to the guidance secretaries. They would have that. Maybe the address was like they had a mistake in the address or something like that possibly, but we can definitely get that out to you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, because Zoe's already in Seattle at the moment. She won't be back before that cutoff date. So I need to get that out to Seattle, have Dad notarize it, and send it in. Otherwise, we won't have it at all. So I'll call the school tomorrow and get that taken care of.
Yeah, and if you have any trouble or any issue, just email me, and I can help you with that if you need it.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, so the next question, Wilson, is Wilson in the BCTC area? Yes, it is, and you would be going to the West Campus.
I'm closer to the West Campus and enrolled in the East Campus, but I'm only coming to make up missing hours.
She's the adult student that's coming back to finish her hours from the school district in Pottsville.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So she's enrolled with us through through adult education.
Okay.
Okay.
You would have to reach out to adult education and check that out. Maybe the numbers you need to come to the East Campus.
That's probably the reason why, because we've had that
Yeah.
before in the past where there's a student that maybe would live in the East District, East Campus District, but their enrollment was too high, so we would get them. So I think that might be the case this year, because I think our enrollment's a little higher this year. So whatever overflow we had, they tried to take the students, but they just put it at the other campus.
If you're coming back to finish hours, you would probably be with level 3. And I'm pretty sure that I'm filled because I just got a question yesterday from continuing ed. But you could still check.
Okay, so the person who said, when do we find out if we're going in the morning or the afternoon? What school do you go to? Antietam. Antietam comes to the East Campus and you come in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Again, feel free to reach out to Mrs. Anderson or myself through email. We'll answer your questions anytime you may have them. Boyertown. Boyertown comes in the morning session at the East Campus and the afternoon session. So that is, that's a good question, actually, when you would be coming. You could send me an email if you'd like, and I would gladly get back to you with that information and let you know whether you'll be attending morning or afternoon through Boyertown, but you'll definitely be coming to the East Campus. Mrs. Anderson, how about Wilson? Morning or afternoon?
Wilson is afternoon. They only send in the afternoon at the West Campus.
Your school counselor from Boyertown, if you're asking that question, yes, they would be able to answer that question for you. They should know whether they're sending you morning or afternoon. You're welcome. All right, if there's not any more questions, we're going to wrap this up for this evening. Thank you all for joining us. And again, welcome to Cosmetology.
And if there are questions, please stay on if you still have questions to ask.
Thank you, ladies. We appreciate it.
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for taking your time. We appreciate you coming.
Okay, the question, do we have lunch at BCTC? What school do you go to? Twin Valley. Does Twin Valley eat at BCTC?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Yes, they do. And as you guys know, you have split schedule. So 2 days of the week, you'll come into my class super early. And then 2 days of the week, you're going to come into my class, not super late, but a lot later.
Oli is in the morning. And you have one of those schedules too. One day you stay a little later than another day. You have a split schedule as well. And Mifflin, does Mifflin eat lunch, Mrs. Anderson?
No, I don't think Mifflin eats there. Mifflin goes back to homeschool for lunch.
Oli eats lunch at Oli. And how about Wilson? Do they eat lunch at BCTC?
Yes.
Yes.
Wilson eats lunch at BCTC.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, so we still have 19 people with us. Is there any other questions that we can answer for you? Feel free to unmute your mic if you can find where your unmute button is, if you'd rather talk. Oli is only in the morning, yes. You're enrolled for afternoon.
Are you the adult student or are you from Ole?
Yeah, she is the adult student. Sorry, this is her mother. We're trying to figure it out.
Okay. Yeah.
It might have been because they put her in where you guys had space.
Yeah, that's what they classified. Yeah,
Okay.
she was told that she was the afternoon though, and she said that you had stated that Oli is morning, so we were
Okay,
just
so
checking on that.
when I said Ole, I mean Ole School District, not the Ole campus.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Okay. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense. Just wanted to verify that because she has a job and with helping out with my little ones getting to and from for me to work. So
Well, I'm
that's
glad
why we
you
had to sign her
clarified that. I apologize.
That's okay. She also had some questions about like the kits as far as FAFSA goes. Like she applied for that just due to the amount that she had to pay out of pocket to go for the adult classes. So can she get the kit on that, or how does that work? Whatever.
That is it. Dr. Stoffer, are you still here?
I'm still here. So I missed the first part of that question. So she's an adult student and she applied for what? What was?
I applied for FAFSA.
Okay. Okay. So for the financial aid. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to contact, you can contact Kim DeHart in the continuing ed office, and she can help you out with that.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the requirements are for the adult ed. Mrs. DeHart will help you with that.
All right, sounds good. And then for my uniform, am I gonna have to go on and purchase a new uniform, or can I use what I had?
What does your uniform look like?
It's black scrub pants, a black scrub shirt, and then I kind of just wore black sneakers. I wasn't mandated to any black sneakers.
Okay, well, the black scrub pants and the black scrub shirt are the same uniform that we use, and then you just have to have the solid black canvas shoes or solid black sneakers.
Okay, and then for an apron, I have an all black apron, but it does have writing on it.
That's fine. Because your senior year,
Okay.
you can wear whatever apron style you want to.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
Nope, I think that answers about all of them.
Okay. We're looking forward to meeting you.
I actually have one more question. The enrollment form you guys were talking about, I've never received that.
Wonder if because she was an adult student, Mrs. Shaw.
And adult ed has to send it out to
Yeah,
her.
adult, yeah, that they didn't know to.
Like I did do a form online, but I think that was just my application form. But I didn't get anything sent to me.
Okay. If you contact Mrs. Foreman or Kim DeHart, one of them, they will be able to get you one of those enrollment forms.
Okay,
Plus,
yes.
Mrs.
Miss
Noacker,
Foreman
you're
was the
probably
one
going to
that
be.
Mrs. Foreman was the one that actually contacted me about going back, and she's been the one that's been in touch with me recently.
Okay.
So can I also talk to her about my FAFSA, or do I have to go to Kim DeHart for that?
I think you could go to Vicky and just, if
She
she could,
should know, yeah.
yeah, and if she would need to direct you to Kim, she would.
Plus,
And-
Mrs.
All
Noacker,
right,
you're
sounds
going to
good.
get probably a transfer of hours from
I was
her
just gonna
school
say
anyway.
Yeah, we'll need a transfer of hours, so I know where to start you.
All right, sounds good.
And do you have a task list of everything that you've completed?
I think I might have one in like my portfolio from my school,
Okay.
but I
like to see that.
actually did transfer that over to Vicky. Vicky should have that of mine. She should
Okay.
have my task list.
Okay.
I think the only thing I really need to still get sent over are my transcripts of hours, but I have to figure out how to do that with my counselor in Pottsville. I have to see how I can transfer those over because I know they have to be like enclosed and such.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else we can help you with?
Wait, when you said your counselor, when you say your counselor, you went to the cosmetology program where?
In Pottsville. In Pottsville, the STC Center.
Okay, because when you say counselor, your does a counselor do it, or would your cosmetology teacher do that?
I have to send in my transcript paper to my counselor, and then my counselor gives it to my teacher.
Okay. Each school might do things just a little bit differently, so we're just kind of questioning the process there.
All right. Yep. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Have a good one.
You too.
Okay, so I see two more questions. I dye my hair a lot on my own at home, and I'm a first-year student. I'm just wondering if we'll be able to dye our hair. With the amount of learning that takes place your level 1 year, there are not often many times that level 1s get the opportunity to get their hair colored. And then the other one is just to clarify, we can take some things out of our kits at home. Your kit's going to come to the schools, whichever school it is that you're going to be attending. But you can take things home and you can practice with them at home, but you need to have them back in the classroom the very next day.
Mm-hmm. After you finish your first year, you'll be taking them home for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Just need to make sure they're all restocked before you come back for your next school year. Because we do kit checks then to make sure you have everything.
Okay, and Sarah's saying, I mean at home like out of school. If you want to color your hair at home, that's perfectly fine.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, we didn't, I'm glad you clarified that. We didn't quite understand that, but thank you, yes. Yeah, we can't, none of the four of us can tell you that you have to get your hair cut or you have to get your hair colored. That's your choice.
Okay. Any other questions? We still have 8 participants with us. Sarah is still on. Alana, is that how you say that?
Alana, yeah, Castro?
Okay, she just left. So Sarah's the only one still on. Sarah, do you have any questions that we can help you with?
She's all smiles. Bye.
Okay,
Everybody.
she is gone. They're all gone.
I think that went well. I enjoyed it.
I'm glad we did it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was nice that we could piggyback off of each other, help each other out in case we missed anything.
Stacy, I was waiting for you to say that it's not a day spa.
Yeah, I normally do say that. I did say that this year. But I did, yeah.
Not a day spa.
Not your own personal beauty salon.
I almost got to it with that last color question.
Right.
But
Oh, yeah. I wanted to be like, oh, honey, no, that's not what this is for. At least
great job, everyone. That was a lot of fun.
We didn't have anybody talk about dog grooming. That was my positive for the night.
There you go. All right. Hey, have a good night, everyone. Awesome job. And yeah, just yell if you guys need anything.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.